It is time. Woo! It's time for a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I'm your host, Dylan Lang, coming to you from the basement of me house, me casa. Um, this week, I'm going to be talking about the new comics that came out this week. And just real quick, I just want to mention something that I got really excited about. I read on Twitter today that Tom King and Franco Grandes or something like that, Marco Grandes, are going to be bringing Mr. Miracle to DC Comics in August. And it looks phenomenal from Rene Ruben Guendes, something like that. It looks phenomenal. The artwork looks great. Love the characters. Should be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see it. So hopefully, in a few months, you'll see it on an episode of the Comic Call. Now, this is the Comic Call. What I do this week is what I do every week is I show all the comics that I bought this week, and just show you the pictures of them and talk a little bit about them to try to get you guys to go out to the comic book stores and buy them. This week, the second week of the month, is usually my busiest one, or my heaviest one, because it's got the most books that come out. As you can see, this is a big book here. This is this week's Comic Call. So a little bit of stuff to go over real quick. I'll try to go as fast as I can. But the whole point of this show is to get you guys to go out to comic book stores. Actually, I'm trying to get this back here a little bit. Get you to go outside to the comic book stores and buy comics. And I'm going to show you there's a lot more to comics than superhero comics. So head on out there and get some stuff. Your stores might even have special offers. And hopefully, if you went to Free Comic Book Day last week, maybe you found the store you like and say, maybe I'll check it out again this week and see what's going on. Because every week, new comics come out every week, and new trades and new toys and stuff like that. It's weird. My store seemed like that they refurbished a few things and changed some stuff up a little bit, and it looks really good. And they got a whole bunch of new Funko Pops in, which is really cool. And then they're actually offering a half price off weekend again. They're half price off of everything, which is great because comic book stores are also a good Mother's Day place. Particularly my wife, who is a big geeky sci-fi comic book junkie like me. There's some stuff there that I might pick up for Mother's Day, or my daughter or my son might pick up for her. So we'll find out if we actually will go. There's a few other places we're going to check out, but the comic book store is a good place to go, particularly if your mother or wife or sister or whatever you want to get Mother's Day presents for is interested in comic books and sci-fi, stuff like that. But so without further ado, let's talk about this week's Comic Call. As I said, the second week seems to be a bit heavier than usual. That's just the way it is. First up, we have the first, major crossover amongst the comics is Titans. Number 11 begins the Lazarus contract. It's going to cross over with Titans, Teen Titans, and Deathstroke. It's going to be the Titans and Teen Titans taking on Deathstroke. It's written by everybody. Where is there it is. Written by Christopher Priest, Benjamin Percy, and Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett did the script, Brett Booth did the penciler, and Norm Ratma did the inks. So we're going to get some good artwork. Brett Booth is always good artwork, and Deathstroke is always a good character to take on the Titans, and then you throw the Teen Titans into that as well, and you get a very interesting crossover. So we'll see what's going on with that, and hopefully it'll be a good crossover. So it'll be going through, as I said, Teen Titans and Deathstroke. I think it's just maybe one issue of each, so it shouldn't be a huge crossover. So, but still, it'd be kind of neat, and that might wrap up in Titans 12. Because let's see, Titans and Teen Titans are monthly, so Deathstroke's the one that's bi-weekly, so maybe it's going to end up in bi-weekly. I just like this cover, and it's also good to have a different take on World's Finest. We have Supergirl number 9, beginning the crossover between Batgirl and Supergirl. Written by Steve Orlando with art by Brian Ching. So they're focusing, they do a lot with, if you like the Supergirl show on the CW, this Supergirl is a lot like that one. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Get some get it. But it's always nice to see a good crossover between Supergirl and Batgirl, and then you get Magog in here, which is a crazy storyline. So hey, it's pretty good. So is it going to cross over into Batgirl? No, I think it's just going to be in Supergirl. So Supergirl and Batgirl teaming up. It's a nice cover, good artwork. Check it out. Supergirl is a good hit series on the CW. You might enjoy it. I love this cover. Apparently, I think Phil Jimenez is no longer doing this comic. Superwoman number 10. Is that going to make me stop buying it? We'll see. It's written by Kay Perkins, pencils by Steven Segovia, and inks by Art Thibert. So we'll have to take a look at that and see what comes up out of that. I'll keep reading it till I don't think it's any good, but we shall see. It focuses on the New 52 version of Lana Lang, who happens to have Superman powers, and get some good stuff. So it's good artwork. And as I said, Phil Jimenez was the creative force behind it, and I think he's doing another book, but I don't know what it is. So keep an eye on that. Next up, we have Justice League number 6. It's always fun to see bubbles, speech bubbles on the cover. It's written by Steve Orlando with art by Andy McDonald. Again, I thought Ivan Reyes was going to do more artwork on this, but I guess he takes a real long time. But this is Justice League of America, just to see, the Ray killing Lobo is interesting. But I'm sure there's more to it than what we are expecting. As you can see, yeah, he's back. So, and the Ray's involved. So it's a lot like the Legends of Tomorrow, the CW show on that one. So there's that one. Next up, we have Wonder Woman number 22, countdown to Greg Rucka leaving the title, but this is another really interesting cover. Greg Rucka and Bilquis Evely, they did the cover. Mirka Andolfo is the artist. Some good stuff. I think she might have been doing some work on DC Bombshells. So interesting stories through and through. Greg Rucka always does a good job with Wonder Woman. So I think this is the year 1 Wonder Woman. So she's still feeling her way around. So we'll see how it all connects. Only 3 issues left of Greg Rucka's run. Next up, we have Red Hood and the Outlaws number 10. Still one of those books that I can't explain, along with Deathstroke, that I shouldn't be collecting, but for whatever reason, I keep getting drawn back to it. It's such a great premise. Scott Lobdell and Dexter Soy. And that's the one thing also, Dexter Soy has done, I think, every issue. I mean, he's one of those artist types that you can, sit there and you can just, count on to monthly, bring about a book every month. Is so great. So it's just great because you've got the Dark Trinity of Red Hood, Bizarro, and Artemis, which is such a great idea for a series. So I got to give Scott Lobdell credit for that. Detective Comics number 956 is, I think this wraps up the storyline. Yeah, I think it might wrap up the storyline that's going on with this one. It's written by, finale, written by James Tynion IV with art by Marcio Takada. So Marcio Takada. So final battle with the League of Assassins. There's supposed to be like a surprise death in here. So let me see if I think it is what I think it is. Nope. Doesn't look like it, but oh well. Oh yeah, actually, hold on. Okay, so it is someone different. Okay. Anyway, this is basically Batman, the Batman family comic, where he teams up with a bunch of people and takes on bad guys all over the place. So should be good. I think Zatanna's coming on maybe next. So that should be pretty interesting because I love Zatanna. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, number 20. Continuing this storyline, Robert Venditti, Rafa Sandoval, and Jordi Tarragona continue the adventures of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps as he is in outer space finally, because we have a different Green Lantern Corps on Earth, or two different Green Lanterns on Earth. So Hal doesn't need to be there, and he and the Green Lantern Corps can go and patrol outer space, which is pretty good, what you need to do. Plus, you still get all the different rings are still involved in it as well. So, still a good series. Green Lantern is still always going to hold a special place in my heart. I saw the cover and I was like, okay. I wasn't going to continue buying this book, but the new status quo Superman might change all that. This is Action Comics number 979. Dan Jurgens, Patrick Zircher, continuing an exploration of Superman's history, and basically, I think after the reveal that the two of them have the New 52 Superman and the old Superman from Flashpoint, or before Flashpoint rather, combined into one Superman. They're going to be focusing on the history of Superman for a little while, so I may have to jump back on this just for a few more. But Dan Jurgens, Patrick Zircher, so good stuff. I think I got one more Rebirth DC book. Sorry, my new studio is still hard to get used to. All-Star Batman number 10. Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque are doing the storyline and the pencils, and then after that we have a backup story, which is why the book costs as much as it does. This one is Killers in Law, written by Raphael Albuquerque and Raphael Scafone, with art by Sebastian Finiara. So I don't know who it focuses on. I'll have to read it. It's a new storyline, but they like to do backups. So we'll see. So I said, haven't been a big fan of Scott Snyder's Batman. This seems to be a different take on a different story. Might be focusing a little bit more on Alfred. So we'll see what happens with that. From DC's imprint Young Animal, we get a new issue, new miniseries, Bug, The Adventures of Forager by Mike Allred, Lee Allred, and Laura Allred. The Bug made a big appearance in Cosmic Odyssey, which is what I'm rereading right now. So, and Mike Allred has always wanted to do a Bug storyline, so he's got a mini series and he's got his chance. So Bug is a new god, so you're going to see a lot of Kirby-esque type of quality to it, and it's in the Young Animal aspect, so it should be a really interesting series. So go for that. Continuing the DC's update, modernizing of the Hanna-Barbera heroes. This is Scooby Apocalypse number 13. Keith Giffen, James DeMatteis, Dale Eaglesham, and Tom Derenick are the art team and the creative team. It's Scooby-Doo, but Scooby Gang are taking on an apocalypse instead of people dressed up as ghosts. So pretty interesting. I think Scrappy is coming up in here soon too. Or he has a backup story. Yes, Scrappy has a backup story also. So, and that's written by Giffen DeMatteis with art by Jan Duracima. So, new take on Scooby-Doo, and I'll keep getting it because of the creative team. So, that's it for DC. SLB Marvel. Again, I wasn't going to buy this one, but I figured, why not? I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Rocket's one of my favorite characters, so Rocket number 1 came out this week. Written by Ali Ewing. Gorham and Garland. Doesn't give them, has everybody else on there, but not them. So, oh well. But it's Rocket. It's Rocket. A new take on Rocket Raccoon. Not quite what you're expecting from Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's still Rocket. And it's a number 1 issue. So, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, why not go ahead and get it? It looks like he's joining up with the team to do like an Ocean's 11 type of thing. So, it'd be pretty interesting. Next will be a Black Panther and the Crew #2, written by Todd Nahisi Coates and Yona Harvey, with pencils by Butch Geist, with Mac Chatner, inks by Scott Hanna, with Mark Chater, I should say, and Chater. It's Storm, Black Panther, Manifold, Luke Cage, and Misty Knight all teaming up. And, Butch Geist does fantastic artwork. And Tanishi is the current writer of Black Panther and is getting a lot of positive feedback. So they've got a couple of Black Panther books out there, but they're selling good. They're going to keep selling them. So, but the main reason I keep buying it is because of the Butch Geist artwork. So good on that. Next up, we have Weapon X #3. Greg Pak, Greg Land, and Ibrahim Roberson, Jay Leaston. Also, again, I like the premise is like, a Black Ops group with Domino, Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, Psylocke, and Thunderbird, I think. And they do stuff that you don't want other people to do. And pretty good artwork by Greg Land, who I've always liked also. So Weapon X, we'll see how long that sticks around, but Weapon X #3 is out there now. Also, #3 this week is America #3, continuing the saga of the lesbian superhero, which the way Marvel's going now, they might not be seeing her too much longer because they're getting rid of everything that's diverse. Gabby Rivera, writer, Joe Quinones with Stacey Lee pencils, Joe Rivera with Stacey Lee inks. So a lot of team ups this week in the Marvel comics. It looks like Nightcrawler is guest starring with her in this one. That's always a good thing because Nightcrawler is awesome. And it looks like she's got the X-Men involved as well. There's Storm and other stuff as well. So America #3 is out. I know my co-host MJ Khan will be happy about that from my comic show that I do on Sundays. Not every Sunday, but first Sunday of the month. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, #7. Jerry Conway, Ryan Stegman, Jesus Aburtov. Basically takes a look at a alternate reality Spider-Man where he and Mary Jane are still married and they have a daughter, and all three of them have powers, and they use them to take on bad guy stuff. Jerry Conway wrote Spider-Man in the 1970s, so he knows a little something about the character. And Ryan Stegman's pretty good comic artist, particularly for Spider-Man. Get him teamed up with the X-Men, so it's always good. So, Your Vows #7. Back in the regular Marvel universe, we got Amazing Spider-Man #27, written by Dan Slott, with art by Stuart Immonen and Wade Von Grobner. Continuing the Osborn storyline. And Peter's flirtation with Mockingbird, who's never looked better. Stuart Immonen's artwork looks fantastic with her, so hopefully maybe the two of them will get together. We'll see. If he can't be with Mary Jane, Mockingbird might be fun. So pretty good about that. Also by Dan Slott, Silver Surfer #11. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. Mike Allred is doing the artwork on this one also. So you got double Mike Allred, double Dan Slott, so you're in good shape there. I talked about this before. Dan Slott is a huge Doctor Who fan, but he can't write a Doctor Who comic, so he wrote the second best thing. He took Silver Surfer and basically made him the Doctor Who of the Marvel Universe and is able to write his Doctor Who story. So it's exactly like a Doctor Who storyline, and he's got a companion, and they're saving the galaxy, and weird stuff is going on, and it's such a great series. And again, it's one of those series that's probably in danger of getting canceled also, which is a shame because it's a very unique and different series, and it's nice to have something a little bit more refreshing in the comic world. So there we go. That's it for Marvel. Now for the independents, and then we're going to go home. I'm already home, but you guys can go home. Rough Riders #3. This is basically the American version of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's written by Adam Glass with art by Patrick Olaf. You've got Theodore Roosevelt, Annie Oakley, Thomas Edison, Jack Johnson, Harry Houdini, and Monk Eastman. Basically investigating crimes together. But there's William Randolph Hearst. But as I said, it's got different history and alternative history, which is kind of interesting. And you've got a superhero team filled up with historical people. There's a cover to that. Aftershock has been doing some good stuff, so pick that one up as well. That's the second series. There's a other Rough Rider series before that where the team got together. This is their next adventure. So as I said, it's basically a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but with American history icons instead of English literature icons. I always keep buying this because I love Blake Northcutt, and I always love a good cheesecake. Fathom number 4. Blake Northcutt, as I said, writer, Marco Renna pencils. So gotta love your cheesecake, and it's Blake Northcutt's Blake Northcutt. So good stuff. So very, very good. So continuing that. So boom. Next up, we have Planet of the Apes and the Green Lantern, number 4 of 6. So continuing the crossover, Robbie Thompson, Justin Jordan, Barnaby Bagenda, or one of the apes from Planet of the Apes, actually has a ring that can bring about all the different colors. So you get him in the different ring colors. So pretty good about that. Z Nation, number 2, the comic, written by Craig Engler, who is one of the creators and writer for the actual TV show, and Fred Van Lent, and art by Edu Mena. This is actually a prequel to the series, so you don't have to be following the series to read this, but it is written by Craig Engler, who is one of the creators of the show. So it's always good to follow up with what's going on with Z Nation. Green Hornet and the Spirit. They love their team ups, don't they? Speaking of licensing, we've got Back to the Future number 19. Again, much like that's written by Craig Engler, who writes and created Z Nation. Bob Gale is co-writer on this also. He's the guy who wrote and created Back to the Future. But in the comics, it's written by John Barber as well. And Doc Brown is in jail, apparently. So we'll have to figure out what's going on with all that. So it's a time travel story, fun stuff going on. So, and as I said, Bob Gale is involved. It looks like Uncle Joey's back. Jailbird Joey. Next up, we have Green Valley, number 8 of 9. So there's one more issue left in Green Valley. It's written by Max Landis with art by Giuseppe Camicoli and Keith Rathburn inks. Basically, it's a fantasy, science fiction, hybrid universe. So it's a miniseries. Got one more issue to go on it, so definitely check that out. That's Kill the Minotaurs, a new series. So just keep one a little bit too far. So stuff like that. Rock Candy Mountain number 2. Just another different type of storyline written and drawn by Kyle Starks, designed by Dylan Todd. So yay, Dylan. Just about hobos in the 1930s on their way trying to find the mythical Rock Candy Mountain. So a little bit more violent than you might think, but it's a bizarre series. And I said, comics are more than superheroes. I mean, you just saw, a sci-fi, fantasy. You saw a licensed book. You saw cheesecake book. Where's cheesecake? Here's a cheesecake book. Cheesecake book. So historical fiction. So you got all kinds of stuff. And we finally end up with Scott Snyder again. This time with Jeff Lemire in their long-awaited finale to AD After Death, Book 3. Again, as I'm saying, it's not your typical storyline. It's in a big format. There's actually prose in it. And it's a unique thing. Comics are unique. And I just gave you a wide variety of proof that they are. So, on that note, that is it for this week's Comic Haul. Next week, it's not quite it. In about 2 weeks, we're getting to my 1-year anniversary. I have done an episode a week, sometimes obviously doubling up a few times or tripling up, but I still did comics for every week. for 2 weeks almost. So this is probably around episode 50 then. So good. Thanks for joining me on this one. Go to your local comic book store. Check out any of those books that I just showed you or anything else that came out. Take a look around. As I said, if you're not into comics, there's all kinds of other stuff at comic book stores now. Go ahead and knock yourself out with that. So without further ado, have a pleasant Mother's Day. If you want to get some gifts for that super geeky Spider Mom or mother who likes comics or licensing stuff or different things, you might want to check out the local comic store. You might find something that you might like. All right. On that note, have a good Mother's Day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.